Well, hey guys, good morning. I'm glad you could join me. Please grab you a cup of coffee, sit down. Got a little video lined up for you considering yesterday's festivities. I thought this would be a perfect video to start our series. So about a year ago, I watched a podcast, one of Joe Rogan's podcasts, and it was featuring a world-renowned mycologist named Paul Stamets, who's a fungus expert. He's been in the field for years and years and years. And I was listening to them talking about mushrooms and everything, and he mentioned a theory of human evolution theorized by a man named Terence McKenna. And so I delved in, did a little research on Terence McKenna, and yeah, this guy was the dude to be asking questions about psilocybin mushrooms. He's written books on it. He wrote a book, Psilocybin Magic Mushrooms Grower's Guide. Matter of fact, he was born and raised in Colorado, Irish ancestry. He enjoyed fossil hunting growing up. And it kind of brought him into the appreciation of outside awareness and seeking the magic mushrooms. He moved to California, and the rest was history, really. Once you go to California, right? He said that one of his first psychedelic experiences was with morning glory seeds that showed him that there was something worth pursuing, is what he said here. So he enrolled in University of California, and he was accepted into Tussman Experimental College. And he began studying shamanism through the study of Tibetan folk region. That same year, which he called the Opium and Kabbalah phase, he traveled to Jerusalem, where he met Kathleen Harrison, an ethnobotanist who would later become his wife. Well, in '69, McKenna traveled to Nepal, led by his interest in Tibetan painting and hallucinogenic shamanism. He sought out a shaman of the Bon tradition, which predated Tibetan Buddhism. During his time there, he also studied the Tibetan language, and he worked as a hashish smuggler. That's crazy. Until one of his Bombay and Aspen shipments fell into the hands of the U.S. Customs. He then wandered through Southeast Asia, viewing ruins, and spent his time as a professional butterfly collector in Indonesia. Just to kind of give you guys a back history on this guy. He was a cultivator. He did public speaking later in life on his studies and his workshops on psilocybin mushrooms. Through the associated with the New Age and human potential movements, McKenna himself had little patience for New Age sensibilities. He repeatedly stressed the importance of primacy of the felt presence of direct experience as opposed to dogma. So you go a little bit farther, and it brings up his theory. Now, the Stoned Ape theory of human evolution goes like this. In his book, Food of Gods, McKenna proposed that the transformation from humans' early ancestors, Homo erectus, to the species Homo sapiens mainly had to do with the addition of the mushroom, psilocybin, in its diet. An event that accordingly to his theory, took place in about 10,000 BC, which is about when he believed that species diverged from the genus Homo. McKenna based his theory on the main effects or alleged effects produced by the mushroom while citing studies by Roland Fisher, from the late 1960s. McKenna stated that due to the desertification of the African continent at that time, human forerunners were forced from the increasingly shrinking tropical canopy in search for new food sources. So we basically had to leave the African continent to look for new food sources. He believed that they would have been following large herds of wild cattle during those wild cattle whose dung harbored the insects that he proposed were undoubtedly part of their new diet, and would have spotted and started eating psilocybin cubensin, a dung-loving mushroom often found growing out of cow patties that everybody knows and loves, right? McKenna's hypothesis was that low doses of psilocybin improve visual acuity, particularly edge detection, meaning that the presence of psilocybin in a diet of an early pack-hunting primates caused the individuals who were consuming psilocybin mushrooms to be a better hunter than those who were not, resulting in an increased food supply and in return higher rate of reproductive success. Then at slightly higher doses, he contended the mushroom acts to sexually arouse, leading to a higher level of attention, more energy in the organism, and potential erection in the males, rendering it even more evolutionary beneficial, as it would result in more offspring. At even higher doses, McKenna proposed that the mushroom would have acted to dissolve boundaries, promoting community bonding and group sexual activities. Consequently, there would be a mixing of genes, greater genetic diversity, and a communal sense of responsibility for the group offspring. At these higher doses, McKenna also argued that psilocybin would be triggering activity in the language-forming region of the brain, manifesting as music and visions, thus catalyzing the emergence of language in early hominids by expanding their evolved repertoire or troop signals. He also pointed out that psilocybin would dissolve the ego and religious concerns would be at the forefront of the tribe's consciousness simply because of the power and strangeness of the experience itself. So therefore, according to McKenna, access to the ingestion of mushrooms was an evolutionary advantage to humans, omnivores, hunter-gatherer ancestors, also providing humanity's first religious impulses. He believed that the psilocybin mushrooms were the evolutionary catalyst for which language, projective imagination, the arts, religion, philosophy, science, and all other human culture sprang. Well, McKenna's hypothesis concerning the influence of psilocybin mushrooms on human evolution is known as the Stoned Ape theory. It hasn't received attention from the scientific community, and it has been criticized for its relative lack of citation to any of the paleoanthropological evidence informing our understanding of human origins. His ideas regarding psilocybin and visual acuity have been criticized by suggesting his misrepresentation Fisher et al., who's published studies about visual perceptions in terms of very specific parameters, not acuity. Criticism has also been expressed due to the fact that in a separate study on psilocybin-induced transformation, a visual space Fisher et al. Stated the psilocybin may not be conducive to the survival of an organism. There is also a lack of scientific evidence that psilocybin increases sexual arousal, and even if it does not necessarily entail an evolutionary advantage. Others have pointed out civilizations such as the Aztecs who use psychedelic mushrooms, or at least among the priestly class, they didn't reflect McKenna's model of how psychedelic using cultures would behave. For example, by carrying out human sacrifice, although it has been noted that psilocybin usage by the Aztec civilizations is far as removed from type of usage on which McKenna's was speculating. There are also examples of Amazonian tribes such as the Javaro and the Yanomami who are ayahuasca ceremonious and who are known to engage in violent behavior. This has been argued indicates that use of psychedelic plants does not necessarily suppress the ego or create harmonious societies. All right. But what was great about this is McKenna clearly stated, listen, for 200,000 years, we were in a rut. Our first 200,000 years, anatomically, modern humans had only the most simplistic of culture. No jewelry, no burials, no cave art, only the most primitive stone tools, with no innovation of their tools or culture for 200,000 years. And there's modern findings that suggest much longer than that. Then, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, all this culture appears. This sudden dramatic explosion. Within a mere 40,000 years, we've gone from such stuck people with no tools now to rocket ships and laser beams, humor, music, vast cornucopia of human culture. Something happened. What was it? I'd like to know what you guys think. Let's throw around some different theories. I'm trying to do a little research on these theories and stuff there. Some of them are really funny and some of them are interesting. So let me know what you guys think. Hope you all enjoyed it. See you next time.